Welcome. Out of the blue. Number 65. So this is my rehearsal studio, and if you zoom in right there, on the wall behind that Sybil is my college degree in comparative religion. And so in comparative religion, you study religions without necessarily being a part of the religion. Okay? And I'm saying this in preface to what I'm about to explain, because I'm going to talk about Super Mario Brothers, and I'm going to talk about Jesus. And I don't want people to get on edge hearing the J word. Because there's this thing where, let's say, everybody who believes in Jesus is praying to Jesus, or everybody who dies and goes to heaven, they see Jesus. But let's say 10,000 people a minute die and go to heaven and see Jesus. That makes Jesus a pretty busy guy, doesn't it? And how is he in all those places at the same time? Right? Well, Neo-Swedenborgianism looks at this like Christianity is an app in the computers of our minds. Or you can say it's like a video game, like Super Mario Brothers. And so if you were to turn this into a different discussion and say that 10,000 people are playing Super Mario Brothers, how does Mario do all that? How is he in all those places at the same time? And the answer is that every person playing it has their own version on their own device, right? And so it's not that Mario is in all those places at the same time. It's that each person playing it has their own version of Mario. And so you can look at this stuff, the computer metaphor really works well in this regard. And so the spirit world, and what I've referred to in the past as the Houdini's mother mind implosion, is essentially that there is, okay, now I don't have access to Houdini's mother or Houdini. Houdini is not in my spirit world necessarily, because, you know, I'm, as I've said, not a magician. I am many other things. But to have someone in your mind, so let's go look at the dictionary and look up spirit. So if you recall the Neo-Swedenborgian interpretation of the near-death experience, you basically have your life begins, and you have all this experience, then something happens and you die, and in an experience that seems like you're traveling to the spirit world, and seems like you're meeting your deceased relatives, and seems like you're viewing your whole life, you pass through everything you've lived into potentially oblivion, or potentially a perceived eternal life. Now, I'm going to read this idea. So what I'm getting at is essentially that I'm calling the mind the spirit world. Spirit, Definition 1, the animating principle of life and energy in man and animals. Definition 2, soul. Definition 3, that part of a human characterized by intelligence, emotion, will, etc., comma, the mind. So the spirit world is the mental world. It's your feelings and your thoughts and your memories and your hopes and your dreams. Now here we have Monsignor Escriva, The Way. Number 283, a little diversion. You've got to have a change, so you open your eyes wide to let in images of things, or you squint because you're nearsighted. Close them all together, have interior life, and you'll see wonders of a better world, a new world with undreamed of color and perspective. So, we're talking about the interior life. We're talking about the world of your mind, which is not new. But we are talking about it as if it is a place. And we are talking about it as if it is a place. Because in this near-death experience that people talk about, that's how they experience it. So they report traveling to heaven, they report tunnel of light, grandma, the life review where they see their entire life. But as we objectively observe them, they're just laying on a table, you know. And so we have to say, if we're going to be rational and scientific about it, we have to say that they only thought they went to another realm. But we also have to acknowledge that they really thought they went to another realm. They are utterly convinced that they met grandma, etc., etc. And so this the mind then becomes the spirit world. So everyone has things in their own mind unique to themselves. For instance, Harry Houdini. Harry Houdini, famous debunker of the spiritualists. Well, before I explain about what Harry Houdini, or how I have answered Harry Houdini's question, let me explain the Houdini's mother mind implosion. The Houdini's mother mind implosion requires us to think about size and scale. So, the question is, it starts with the question, humans range in height from 7 to 8 feet tall to 3 to 4 feet tall in general. There's extremes on the other ends, but so the question is, if somebody is 7 feet tall and another person is 3.5 feet tall, so there's a 7-footer and a 3.5-footer, is one more of a person than the other? Okay, one is twice as big. So is the 7-foot person more of a person? Are they more human? Or is their humanity equal, even though their size is not? Okay, so obviously they're both, because then of course their humanity is equal, because otherwise a bigger person would be more of a person. Now a bigger person in a strictly physical sense, yes, they are more of a person. They weigh 200 pounds and the other person weighs 100 pounds. So strictly speaking, you can say that there's more to that person. But when we use the word person, we mean something else. So the personhood of the 200-pounder is not twice as big as the personhood of the 100-pounder. And if you continue that, let's say there's a 4-foot person and a 2-foot person. At no point does the size diminish the personhood, right? And so you could also imagine, if you're a sci-fi type, you can imagine a planet where the people are 3 millimeters tall, okay, because of the environmental situation. People are only 3 millimeters tall on average, but they're still human, and if you were in their scale with them, it would just be like human society. So a 3 millimeter person has an equal amount of personhood as a 6 foot person. And I just happened to find this little postcard from a hotel, and it has these little pictures of hotels, and you can imagine a little 3 millimeter person staying in one of those hotels. But anyway, and so essentially what I'm getting at is that the answer for Houdini was not really available in Houdini's time, because it was only people like the spiritualists and going back to Swedenborg who were saying anything of this sort. So there weren't any really credible sources. It was only like in the 60s, when we have these people being revived from the brink of death, a near-death experience, that Swedenborg was suddenly being echoed in these modern voices. And we can only explain it as, I mean, if we want to eschew the supernatural, we can only explain it as a phenomenon that happens within the physical brain. So, what I'm getting at is that Houdini missed his mother, and he was going to these spiritualists to try to contact her. And they were using fraudulent methods, and he exposed them. But the only real place he could have found his mother is in his own psyche. Now that's nothing new. People have been saying that for a long time. But what is new is to think of your psyche as a real place where this person really lives. It's as I just said, the Houdini's mother-mind implosion, the size difference in no way, at no time, alters the personhood of the person. So, if your thoughts are limited to your head, that means there's a little thought, or not in my head, but in Houdini's head, there's a little thought of his mother, and in a way, what Neo-Swedenborgianism does is, as I've said, it's a thought machine with which you can drive to this realm without having to chant a mantra, without having to meditate or do any woojie stuff. It is a vehicle. And just like you can drive a car regardless of if you're religious or not, or what religion you are. The car doesn't care what religion you are, right? The car just needs a certain combination of things. It needs some gas, you need to have the key, you start it up. When you have all the pieces, it drives, regardless of your own personal beliefs. So Neo-Swedenborgianism is a thought machine with which, for example, Houdini can drive to the astral realm and have a continued relationship with his mother. So this explains, this is a way, and it's not much. I'll tell you that. It's not much. It's not much of an answer. But it's an answer that is something. It's not much, but somebody might like it.